Rise and shine. This is your morning Buzzcast for Monday, May 5th. Happy Cinco de Mayo. I'm Austin Karp, and I have to imagine the sight of the NFL draft on the National Mall in 2027 is going to be something to behold. It was reported late last night that the 2027 event is coming to D.C. around the Washington Monument. Talk about your amazing visuals, and really crazy the continued turnaround for the NFL in the nation's capital as this news comes 1 week after a deal was struck by D.C. to get the Commanders back in the city. They're going to build a stadium on that RFK site. An official 2027 NFL draft announcement is expected at the White House later today. Really looking forward to watching that one next year, obviously in Pittsburgh. But there were some other big events from the weekend on the sports calendar, the first weekend in May. Let's start with the biggest of them, and that's the Kentucky Derby. I think overall, it had to be a win for the sport of horse racing at Churchill Downs Inc. Yes, attendance was down around 6%, but tough weather in Louisville. Churchill CEO Bill Carstingen also assigned some blame to President Trump's economic policies for hampering ticket sales. Some softness there, especially for those high-end tickets at an event like the Derby. Just another area of the sports business to keep an eye on with this White House and its policies. But while attendance was down, TV audiences certainly tuned in for the event, the most watched Kentucky Derby since 1989. Yes, a big thank you to improved metrics for out-of-home and streaming data, but America still gathers for this race, especially that hour-long race segment that's measured here. It's not asking a lot of people to tune in for that 60-minute period. 17.7 million people, very solid number. That's just a little shy of what the NCAA men's basketball championship game got last month, just as a barometer there. That's up 6% from last year. Big win for NBC with the number. Betting was also up 11% for the Derby itself, a record $234 million wagered on the Run for the Roses across all races during Derby week, a record $474 million bet. That's up 6% from 2024. Tons of celebrities at Churchill Downs, still a big time event on the U.S. sports calendar. Another big event this past weekend was Sunday's F1 Miami Grand Prix, the fourth year of this race in and around, weaving around the whole Dolphins Hard Rock Stadium complex. The Dolphins' Tom Garfinkel said around 275,000 people were expected during race weekend. Celebs galore, from Timothée Chalamet to a bunch of Dolphins players, celebrity chef Gordon Ramsay, gymnast Suni Lee, Inter Miami's Sergio Busquets, and Patrick Mahomes, who is, of course, an investor in the Alpine team. There's no denying that this has become one of the signature races on the F1 calendar. That was evident Friday afternoon when the Dolphins and Formula One announced the race would remain on the calendar through 2041, making it the longest contracted race in F1. That's a pretty solid stamp of approval for the work that Stephen Ross, Garfinkel, and all the folks in South Florida have done to amp up this event. The ABC window means this is likely, again, to be the most watched F1 race of the season here in the United States. And the ratings have been good this season. No early Max Verstappen dominance to hamper, enthusiasm for casual viewers coming in. McLaren, which took the Constructors' title last season, now has one of its drivers, Oscar Piastri, at the top of the standings. Could he break Verstappen's streak winning there? That is going to keep people interested as we get into the meat of the season. We got an early glimpse at some WNBA crowd enthusiasm this weekend, with the likes of Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese returning to their respective college campuses for exhibitions against the Brazilian national team. This was Clark's first game since the Fever's 2024 playoff exit. On Sunday, you had a sold-out Carver Hawkeye Arena, around 15,000 fans. If you haven't seen the video of Clark draining a 36-foot three-pointer way downtown, wow. She just has that factor in ways that Tiger Woods and Steph Curry have had. You want to tune in. You want to see what they're going to do next. Conversely, Angel Reese and the Chicago Sky played at Pete Maravich Assembly Center on Saturday against that same Brazilian national team. You had just over 6,300 fans come to the venue. That has a capacity closer to 13,000. A half-full arena down at LSU. It was kind of interesting to see. Not that many people came out for Angel Reese and Haley Van Lith, for that matter, who's a rookie on that Chicago Sky team. So interesting to see the dichotomy there in the attendance, something to pay attention to. I got to imagine if the Dallas Wings and Paige Beckers play a game in Storrs, Connecticut next season at this time, that's a number I definitely want to see. Going to pack them in there in Connecticut. But this is all just preseason. Nothing to worry about. These WNBA numbers, I think, are going to be really strong at the gate and on TV, especially those opening games. Some other notes to wrap things up this Monday morning. Check out SBJ this week. We profile longtime Fox Sports executive David Hill. He's our honoree of the SBJ Lifetime Achievement Award. He'll be honored at the Sports Business Awards in a couple of weeks in Manhattan. Really good profile there from SBJ's Bill King. Check that out. John Skipper is out at Meadowlark Media, the outfit he launched alongside Dan Levitard. A lot of hype early on for this effort, but getting your content sold these days, there are a lot of places trying to do that. Very tough market. Curious to see where Meadowlark goes from here in terms of leadership. President Trump said he could sign an executive order related to name, image, and likeness in college sports. That came after a conversation he had with Nick Saban and Tommy Tuberville. Not sure what teeth a Trump executive order would actually have here in the space, but so many folks in college have asked for so long about something at the federal level related to NIL. This has obviously been a state-by-state thing for now, but many of those folks are probably seeking something bigger than an executive order. They want congressional action. Boxing in Times Square sounded like a pretty cool idea, but the 3 matches held Friday night showed the logistical hurdles needed to pull off something like this. Maybe the biggest hurdle was that not many people could watch. Maybe only 300 or so, and most of those 300 were VIPs, so kind of a small venue, small crowd in the end in Times Square. I like the move the NBC is making, bringing on Carmelo Anthony as an analyst for NBA games next season. The network formalized that move over the weekend. Melo, obviously a Hall of Famer when his name comes up. He seems to have really opened up during his post-playing days, doing a whole range of media. So I'll definitely be listening once he and NBC and Roundball Rock all hit the airwaves in October. And we're on to the second round of the NBA playoffs. We won't have the Lakers and LeBron, but some big teams and names still around, including Steph and the Warriors, who upset the number 2 seed Rockets on Sunday night in round 1 in that Game 7 on the road. The second round also has the Knicks taking on the Celtics. That'll start tonight. And Jokic and the Nuggets getting Shai Gilgeous-Alexander and the Thunder in a matchup of the 2 MVP contenders. Some really good basketball here in the second round. And I'll finish things up with a hat tip to all the Buzzcast listeners in Winnipeg. What a finish to Jets-Blues first round Game 7 last night. The Jets scored with just 3 seconds left in regulation to tie it, then won it in double OT. Heartbreaking loss for the Blues. It's also interesting that both this NHL Game 7 and the NBA's Warriors-Rockets Game 7 went head-to-head on TBS and TNT, respectively. These matchups potentially could have received an ABC window earlier on Sunday, but they had to clear the runway for that Miami F1 race, which is likely to draw a much bigger audience. I'll be watching for the numbers there on TNT Sports and the impact on the overall first-round audience figures. So that is your morning Buzzcast for Monday, May 5th. Again, happy Cinco de Mayo. I'm Austin Karp. I'll be back later in the week. My colleagues will help bring you the Buzzcast this week. Make good choices out there, and I will speak to you all again soon.